All right, peeps, we're live. We're going to go live today with Andy Frisella. You can check it out over at powerproject.live. Right now, I'm live on Instagram, and I'm just going to give this a little bit of an intro before we dive into this. Um, Andy Frisella is somebody I've been communicating with over the last year or so. Um, I went out there to Missouri. Thank you, Smokey. I went out there to Missouri to visit First Form and was truly inspired by what they have going on. They have a very strong team. They have very just awesome things going on. Andy's an entrepreneur. He's somebody that I look up to in a lot of different ways. I admire him as a businessman, family man, entrepreneur man, ass kicker, worker, outer, lifter guy. In every sense of the word, I admire a lot of the different things that he's got going on. Then also, I really enjoy the fact that it's him and his brother Sal that are running shit over there at First Form, and they're doing a great job of it. And they've done some very cool and innovative things. It's not like they've necessarily invented new supplements. If they have invented new supplements, I'm not aware of it, but they have executed on a lot of ideas and concepts and executed on them with more modern day technology and more modern things, in more modern times. Andy has built up First Form into the hundreds of millions of dollars, which is everybody's goal is to build up a brand the way that these guys have. These guys are real savages and real beasts. And we're going to talk to him today about like what are things that hold him back. What are some things that hold him back from his goals? What are some things that hold him back from achieving some of the things, if there is anything? Because the guy's achieving a lot. He's moving fast. He's getting his name out there more and more. And his podcast is growing at a very, very rapid rate. And so we're going to give him a call here in just a minute. Before I do that, I'm going to pop off of here. I see you, Jesse Burdick. You can check it out at powerproject.live if you want to watch that live. Myself and Andy Frisella, we're about to go live on the YouTube. It's www.powerproject.live. Later. Bam. Just going to record one more thing. Getting you guys warmed up for this. Go to powerproject.live, go to powerproject.live, go to powerproject.live and watch and listen to myself and Andy Frisella. See you guys over there, powerproject.live. Later. Go to powerproject. All right, that was loud. Okay, so one more thing. Here we go. So Andy and I got in conversation today, and I want to kind of lead into this and talk just a second about I've been helping him with his weight loss and helping him with some things. Now, he and I have gone back and forth on some things that he is trying to do with his weight loss. He lost a lot of weight first time. He got down to 238 pounds, 237 pounds. He wasn't happy with it. He felt he was looking flat. He was feeling that he got kind of skinny fat. For a brief period of time, he had some sort of lapse or something and went off the diet and just wanted to try something else. He wasn't that happy with. He was happy with the fact that he was stuck losing weight and he lost weight. Wasn't happy with the way all of it came off, and I think towards the end, he was starting to feel like a shriveled up penis. And so this time around, he's like, I'm going to do A, B, C, and D. And I've given him some advice. And he was like, fuck that. I ain't doing that. I'm going to do it this way. And so we went back and forth on some different things. But anyway, he's back on the plan. He's back to being jacked and tan. And we're getting ready to meet up at Summer Smash out in St. Louis at his facility, his First Form facility. I will be there as a speaker. He will be there as an ass kicker, as always. And we're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of, cool, some really fun and cool time. So let's get him on the horn. I have a question to ask this guy. Calling Andy Frisella.
Oh,
how much you bench?
All of it.
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Doing fucking awesome, man. I was just giving people a little history on you were stuck with your body weight a while back, and we got you down to about 238 pounds. You weren't really that pumped about the way that you looked and the way that you felt. Can you talk about a little bit of that and talk about, you were stuck for a little bit there, right?
Well, I've been. You mean when I was stuck, like when we first started hanging out?
Yeah, yeah. When you and I started falling in love with each other.
Yeah. So yeah, dude, I dieted down from 350 all the way down to about 268, 270, and that's kind of where my bottom was. And then when you and I met, I had worked my way back up to like 285. Do you remember? I was like, I think the first day I weighed in when I started, when I started back the day after you left, I was 287. Um, which, dude, that sounds like a lot, but you and I both know that, like, you and I could fucking snap fingers and be that heavy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you gain
So,
weight fast.
yeah. So, then I started, you and I started working on the keto. And I did 3 cycles of like right around 30 days, like 28 days. I think 2 cycles of 28 days and then 1 cycle of 21 days. And I was down, I was down to like I think I worked all the way down to, what did we do?
I want to say 235, 237, something like that.
Yeah, I think I was 238 in 3 months. And, I was slow at first, if you remember. We were slow. Like I was, and I was kind of still sticking around that 270. And then around the beginning of November, from November to December, I went from like 265 to 240 literally in 4 weeks. And when I got down there that last month, I implemented intermittent fasting on top of the keto. And I just went hard as fuck with that. And, I think I just went too hard and I lost too much too fast. And when I got down, because I've been leaner than that and heavier than that.
Right.
So I got down and it felt good to know I could get down that light again. You know what I mean? Because like, when you're 350, 230 sounds like 230 is infinity away. So it was nice to see that on the scale, but I just wasn't happy with how I looked. So the last, 3 or 4 months, I've been slowly putting that weight back on, and I'm sitting right around 260 right now. I look good. I mean, I'm not super lean, but I mean, I'm not fat either. And now I want to get that. I'm fat for fucking bodybuilding, but I'm not fat.
What are some things that sometimes might derail your success when you're trying to diet? Because you're a guy that travels all over the place and you have speaking engagements. You run a multi-million-dollar business that's probably at some point going to be on its way to a multi-billion-dollar business. You're doing a lot of awesome things, and your life is your life's very busy. Your life's very hectic. What are some things that might sidetrack your nutrition?
Well, I actually, for me personally, that's why I like keto. And I've always been a keto guy. Like, that, like for the last 20 years, I've done cyclical keto or different kinds of keto. I prefer keto because I feel like it's flexible around traveling. For me, like I have trigger foods. Like I have a legit food addiction. Like if I eat French fries or if I eat pizza or if I drink beer, it's fucking over, dude. Like I go crazy. And so for me, just I just need to have some really strict guidelines that I know I can't violate. You know what I mean? But for derailing, I think, for me, having a couple drinks, it starts to get me off track. When you travel a lot, people want to go to dinner and they want to have drinks and they want to hang out. That's something personally for me that will get me off track real fast.
Like, it sounds like you're a little bit like me. Like I grew up with access to junk food. And so
Yeah,
therefore, I've kind of always had a taste for it.
yeah, dude. So when I go to Hollywood, we have an office in Hollywood. So and when I go to Hollywood, I stay at the W in Hollywood, and in the W at Hollywood, they have these little like snack
Oh,
trays.
shit.
Yeah, dude. And every fucking time I go there, I end up going crazy on the fucking snack tray. And it starts with those pop chips, and then it ends with like everything on the whole tray. So, so now when I go there, I actually have them come up and take it out of the room. So
Yeah,
I can't do that.
that's the only way to do it. And do you just like
Yeah.
having a beer here and there? Like you like to just kind of kick back and have a beer, and then that leads to other things
Yeah,
maybe
dude.
too.
Yeah, for sure. For sure it does. Because, like I, you know, grew up in a Italian family, dude. You know, eating and drinking is like normal shit, and that's how we like socialize. So the minute I get a couple beers, then habitually, I want to eat, and um, it's something that I've just I'm just better off not drinking is really what it comes down to at all. You know what I mean? Because it triggers me into eating. You know, on keto, you can get away with some drinking, as you know,
Right.
and it actually help push you into keto further. But for me, even though it does that, it triggers me to go off the plan. So I try to stay away from it.
I noticed for myself that even foods that are like within a ketogenic diet, sometimes those foods will trigger me, and even overeating will trigger me off the
That's right.
plan.
Yeah,
So like if I make like a
absolutely.
fathead pizza or something, then it's on. Like I want to have a Snickers bar and shit like that.
Yeah, dude, it's for sure 100%. I relate to that. I think that a lot of the food with anything, man, I feel like people try to push the limits of slackness, right? Like they try to
Right.
cut as much corner off as they can. And it's no different with keto. You see all these keto recipes and all this crazy stuff that people are doing with their recipes, and that's fine and good, right? It's good to work in some variety. But the truth of it is this is how I feel about it. And you and I have talked about this before. Um, I feel like that's not a good thing to do because I feel like it hurts you from a mental discipline wise. You know what I mean? Part of a diet, it's deeper than just the physical results. It's psychological too, and you're training yourself to have discipline. At least that's how I look at it. And I think that when you start adding in all these other foods that are similar to foods that you ate when you were off your diet, you're kind of defeating the purpose of learning some more discipline and strengthening that discipline muscle. And so I did that for a little bit, dude. Like I was eating those pizzas, like meat pizzas and shit like that. And
Right.
the truth is, yeah, dude, I get better results when I don't eat that stuff. I get better results when I stick to the basics. The steaks, hamburger, bacon, eggs, and just the staple foods, man. And cheese. I'll do that. I do vegetables. I do Brussels sprouts. Just the basic shit. And
You kind of
I
mentioned.
seem
I was gonna say you
go
kind of
ahead.
mentioned strengthening your willpower. Um, with the way that you built up your business over the years, having as you put it, a little nutrition store. I like that you say that all the time because
Yeah,
I know how that goes. Oh yeah, you still got that little business over there. Oh, how's that little invention going that
yeah,
you have? And it makes you
yeah,
just want to like
yeah.
light the guy's face on fire.
Yeah,
How how
yeah, dude.
has
Hey,
uh
Andy.
how has it been, building up your willpower over the years to try to convince yourself that you are strong enough, that you are powerful enough to lead the ship and to run a business like this?
Well, it's funny, dude, because my issue, like, I feel like we all have skills in different areas of life, and you see this a lot in fitness, right? You see these bodybuilders who are so disciplined about their training and their workouts, and they do all these things that are good for that aspect of their life, but their finances are in fucking shambles, right?
Yeah.
Like they can't even barely pay their rent, and if they can, and so for me, I'm kind of the opposite. Like in business, dude, I have unlimited discipline. Like it's not even hard for me. It's like, it's just, it's, I've just been able, I guess because I've been doing it so long, maybe it used to be hard. I just don't remember it ever being that hard. Um, but when it comes to fitness and diet, you know, and maybe it's because we only have so much of that energy stored up inside of us. Like we only have so much discipline energy inside of us. And if we use it all on business, then maybe you don't have as much for fitness and vice versa. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but it seems like most people can apply it in certain areas and then and not in others. And the trick is be able to recognize that you have that power. You're just not applying it to the area that you want.
Yeah, look at Elon Musk. He's been married 4 times, right? He can figure out all
Right.
kinds of stuff, but
Exactly.
he can't figure out how to stay married.
Right. and the truth is, he's probably spending all his energy on his companies and his business, and none on his relationships. So, and that's what kind of what I'm talking about. It's the exact same thing. It's just a different skill.
You hear people talk
So
about balance all the time. Do you think balance even exists, or do you think that you have to be a little cockeyed to get ahead?
I look at balance a little bit different than what most people do. Balance, for most people, they look at it on a daily or a weekly scale. So they look at balance like, all right, I work from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock on is my time, and it's my family time, and that's how they look at it. And or they might look at it like Monday through Friday, I work hard, and then Saturday and Sunday is my family time, or whatever my time. They don't have whatever time they want.
Right.
That's not how I've ever looked at it. I've always looked at it like I'm gonna spend my first 20 years of adulthood just busting my ass so that I can have the rest of my life to do whatever the fuck I want.
Mm.
And so I tend to look at balance on a lifetime scale. Now, with that being said, there's absolutely no guarantee that you're going to live that whole life. So it's kind of risky to think like that. So, it's not, everybody has their own way they view balance. And I don't think my way is better than anybody else's way. I just, that's how I look at it. And, I think it's very hard. You have to be very disciplined and very, very good, and self-aware to be able to balance on a traditional scale, in my opinion. And to be honest, that's not me. So.
Yeah, earlier you pointed out, like, people are going to kind of take slack wherever they can. People are going to kind of cut corners wherever they can.
Yeah.
From a company standpoint, what does that look like for you? Like, how do you deal with things of that nature? And I know the company has grown by leaps and bounds over the years. Do you end up hiring everybody and letting everybody go and all those different things?
No, and that's a pretty involved question. So like when you first start and you're trying to bring on employees, you're going to go through a lot of people, okay? Because a lot of these people aren't going to represent the core values that you stand for. And most companies don't even understand what core values are. They don't identify them. They don't live by them. They don't communicate by them. And setting up a culture is very hard when you're a 2-man or a 3-man shop and you're trying to expand.
So would you say maybe in a sense you think a lot of companies are also at fault? It's not just, because you keep hearing people talk about millennials being lazy. Maybe it's the companies don't have a fucking identity yet.
It's dude, with millennials being lazy, that's bullshit. That's not what it is. Millennials aren't lazy, they're impatient. So they lose their attention span quickly. And you can't blame millennials for being impatient when every single thing in their entire life is now automated or instant.
Yeah.
Okay. They can push a button and talk to every single friend that they know their whole entire lives in 1 second. They can text people, they can email people. Dude, when we were growing up, you went outside and you came home when the lights went on, and
right.
It was just a different thing. And there was more patience. You had to wait for things. And we created a society that just cultivates lack of patience. And then we blame them for not having patience. So my opinion on millennials, and dude, my entire company is millennials. I've got 200 something millennials that directly work in St. Louis for me. And we kick ass. And the reason we kick ass is because I've learned how to manage them properly. And the other thing about millennials too, is that they're purpose driven. Most of them are not money driven. Okay. And that's a good thing because your company should be purpose driven. If your company exists solely to make money, then you're not really morally or ethically doing anything that I personally believe is okay. Your companies exist to solve a problem. They exist to provide a solution. They exist to help people with whatever it is they're looking to do. And in our case, we're looking to help people change their bodies, change their lives, change their physical appearance. And, that's the higher purpose of why we exist. And so getting people behind that cause is not that difficult. And I actually really think the millennials suit our business model really well. But I think the reason millennials get such a bad rap, dude, is because you have all these old men who've been in business for a long time trying to manage them, and they're saying they're trying to push money in their face as the way to motivate them, and those people just aren't motivated by money. The same way
Yeah.
that maybe their generation was.
Yeah, they're there for a higher
So
purpose. They want to be part of something bigger than themselves.
yes, exactly. And dude, if you want to succeed in business right now, you have to be somebody who is of higher purpose, because if you're not, your customers are going to see through it. So millennials are actually like a super awesome gift, the way that our situation is set up right now in our economy, with social media marketing and influencer marketing and the way that we communicate so quickly. If you're not purpose driven and you're going to screw customers over and you're going to sell them shit that doesn't work or sell them things that don't provide a real solution for them, everybody's going to know instantly. So, you should be purpose driven. I mean, I think it's the right thing to do.
There's some people that just walk around life with kind of their hair on fire. They kind of have a chip on their shoulder. They're just they want to get ahead. They just have this thing inside of them. Who the hell knows what it is? They just got this fire, this passion. They want to get ahead. They want to be ahead. And in your situation, I've heard you say that you're playing for blood. I've heard you say we no longer drink from the skulls of our enemies, and all these things that most people would view crazy. I'm sitting there just clapping. I'm like, this is fucking great, because this is the way I feel oftentimes. Where did this come from? This come from your dad or your parents or like grandpa, or like where did this come from?
I mean, yeah, dude, my dad kind of bred that into us a little bit, I guess. I mean, my very first Christmas present ever, my brother and I, when he was 2 and I was 3 or 4, was boxing gloves, and he had made us fight. So like, and that never stopped. I mean, you had brothers, dude. We fucking, I don't know if you guys fought, but we literally fought every single day for 20 years. And still to this day, like once a year, we'll get in a fight at work too.
As soon as I talk to your brother Sal, I'm always, every time I talk to you and every time I talk to him, I talk shit about each other back and forth to try to get you guys to fight more.
Yeah, but dude, he knows not to fuck with me, man. Like, he might talk some shit, but he's only ever won one fight from us.
Yeah, knocked you off the tractor. You told me the cheap shot.
That's right. He knocked me off the tractor when I wasn't looking. But yeah, dude, those are really like those sayings that I use. Honestly, bro, like, I've always been competitive, but I've gotten more competitive as the years go, because I'm like an elephant, man. I never forget anything, and the more shit people say to me, the more negativity that I get, the more people don't think, dude, really just the more they talk shit is the more fuel I get from it. And I've always been that way. I operate from the dark side. And the worst thing someone can do to me is provide me with that kind of energy, because I'm very good at taking negativity and turning it into positive action. Like, I don't sit there and stew and stay mad. I actually, when I get that fuel, I go do things that propel us forward. And I found that to be a very good motivator for me. And a lot of people will say, oh, that's not okay, and blah, 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 you're doing it for the wrong fuck. What difference does it fucking make if you're purpose driven and you're providing solutions and you're helping people get results and all this other good stuff? So I don't know where it came from, dude. It had to have come from my dad, I guess. But the truth of it is that it's growing. You know what I mean?
What did your dad do for a living?
He was an entrepreneur. He started an
before the
company.
internet. No way.
Yeah, exactly. He purchased a garage full of electrical supplies, and then when he was 18, and then worked that into, over the next 30 years, he worked it into a full-blown electrical distributorship. So like, electrical contractors would come buy their wire, their breakers, their conduit from him. So, I got to grow up around entrepreneurship as well, which I know, like, that was a huge deal for me. Because my dad's always the kind of guy that's going to have something to teach you. He's going to have a story, he's going to have a lesson, he's going to have something that you know, just to teach all the time. And that's been that way forever. So I was very, like, I don't use the word luck very often, but having my dad as my dad was very lucky.
Yeah.
He never helped us financially, or he never gave us any money or helped us or anything like that. But dude, having him as a mentor was worth a million times more than anything he could have ever gave me.
Well, and him not helping you was him helping you, figure it out yourself
Yeah,
kind of deal.
dude, that's how smart he is. You know what I mean? Like, and he didn't feel bad about it either. I used to get pissed at him about it. I'd be like, "Fuck, dude, I'm down here making, like, for the first 3 years in business, I made $0. The next 7 years, I made $695 a month. And I'm fucking, like, starving, dude, and working my ass off. He didn't even care. He's like, yeah, that's what you got to do.
He
And
wants
he
to
didn't
show you
feel
that you
one
have
bit
to earn it.
Yeah, he did the same thing, but now I'm glad he never did, because now I feel a really strong sense of pride about what we've done. You know what I mean?
When you were saying earlier that you kind of play from the dark side, there's dangers to the dark side. I've seen Star Wars many times over.
Oh yeah.
Is it ever dangerous for you to kind of use that negativity? Does it ever pile up on you and turn into anything negative for you?
Um, it can, man. It could eat you up. You know what I'm saying? I I have had diagnosed depression for 20 years. So um, one could make the argument that that contributes to that, but I don't believe that it does. It's not related to that, because I've become so good at taking in the negativity and turning it into good shit. I actually like it. So while you could easily say that from the outside, yeah, that contributes to this, I
Right.
don't think that it does for me. But really, what contributes to my depression more than anything is staying in the same place for too long, getting in the same routine for too long, um, and not taking time to really focus on making some changes. And
It's almost like
about once a year,
almost like an anxiety, right? Like, fuck, I want things
yeah, and
to
it
be
burns.
different or better, right?
Yes, and it burns me out, and that's what. And then every year for one, or from, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 days, like, I get it real bad where I don't get out of bed, and then the next 2 or 3 days after that, I have to go, like, away from work and do something, and then I'm fine. So, and that's something that people don't really understand about depression either. That I try to use my platform to communicate, is that it always passes, man. Even if it lasts for weeks, it eventually improves, and the biggest thing I ever did, man, is I didn't know I had it. Like, I knew, I used to see those commercials. You see those depression commercials where they're like, if you have thoughts of suicide, call this number. And
Yeah.
I would like laugh, and I'd be like, dude, I fucking have that every day. These fucking pussies are calling and taking pills for that shit. Like, I thought, so, because I didn't have the perspective to understand. I've had it for so long that I thought it was normal. You get what I'm saying? So,
Right.
like, I'm like, everybody thinks that, and they don't. And the best thing that happened to me, dude, is like 2012, I ended up having like a nervous breakdown, and I ended up having to go to the doctor, and they got me on some medication and got me some help, and dude, it made a world of difference for me. And if I hadn't done that, dude, I wouldn't even be here, because it was getting that bad.
Shit.
So I try to, like, really stress to people that if they're having those thoughts, and I'm not talking about having a bad fucking day. Everybody has bad days. I'm not talking about being stressed. But if you're thinking, like, if you're having visualization, like, thoughts of, like, shooting yourself in the fucking head or hanging yourself, that's not normal. You know what I mean? And people don't like, people with depression, a lot of them don't realize that, because they've always had it, and that was me. So now it's something that I've learned to work through. You know what I mean? It's just a process, and I think a lot of people, when they end up committing suicide and hurting themselves and things like that, it's like their first really bad episode with it, so they don't know it's going to get better. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know. It's a really complicated subject, man, but it's something that people need to hear, because a lot of these guys out there that are building these massive businesses and building these, they're successful and blah blah blah. They act like they're superheroes. You know what I mean? And they've got all these skills, and they're not human, and to appease their own ego. And the truth is like, I'm a normal motherfucker just like everybody else.
You
And I have
give a
struggles.
lot of yourself You give a lot of yourself through your podcast, and I can't imagine also too just the workload on top of that. You communicating in different meetings, and obviously you have other goals that aren't just about first form. So um, that can really tug at you quite a bit. Do you ever just feel like just not talking, like just not like I don't feel like fucking doing a
Yeah,
podcast?
yeah, for sure. And I've gotten I have to do that, dude. Like if I'm not feeling it, I can't put out content because the content that I put out will be stupid. Like it's bad.
Yeah,
So I have to feel it, otherwise I just won't do it.
you
And
could give a
a
lot of
couple
energy.
weeks out, yeah, right. A couple weeks out of the year, I just won't do a podcast for the week, or I won't do it for 2 weeks because I'm not feeling it, or I won't post online for 3 or 4 days or a week. Because like I feel like if you don't have something to say, don't fucking say anything. But yeah, that usually comes from having to expend a lot of energy in my business and then not having any left over for the podcast, or vice versa. Sometimes I put so much into the personal brand that I don't really have anything good to say to my company. You know what I mean? Energy balance is a huge thing. I think we all have a certain amount, and just like we said with like the discipline thing, I think we all have a certain amount that we could put into certain things in a lot of different skills, and when you use them all up for that day, they're gone.
Yeah. There's some people that are
So
high up the food chain, like Dr. Dre, and like there's some of these people they just wear the same shit every day. They wear the same shirt and the same shoes, so they don't have
yeah,
to think about it.
yeah, I do that. I definitely do that.
Yeah, they
Like
get just
I
just get
literally
rid
wear
of some of the choices, right? One less thing you got to
yeah,
think about.
yeah, I wear the same exact shit every day. Like I literally, if in fact, I could text you a picture of what my drawer. I have like 30 black V-necks. That's it. I wear a black V-neck, or I wear a first form shirt, or I wear one of your shirts,
Yeah,
and that's
you're
it.
always rocking the power shirts, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, those shirts fit good. They fit good. It's a good fit shirt.
They
You
make
know,
they make you look jacked. They make you look handsome.
that's right. Dude, it makes you look at least like 20 pounds more muscle and 10 pounds less fat.
A lot of
And
people
I'm not
don't
even
know this
joking
about
either.
you, but you're pretty fucking strong. And I think years ago you were benching over 500 pounds, right?
Yeah, yeah. I actually want to get back to that. But yeah, I was. I tore my pec when I was benching. I benched 550 for almost a triple, and that was when I tore my pec. I tore my pec coming back down that day at
Hmm.
405. Um, and
Hey,
so
never
yeah,
use less
and
weight.
that's
Just goes to show you.
huh?
I said never use less weight. Just goes to show you, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, dude. I was just lifting like an animal at that time, and yeah, I at one point in my life I was actually fairly strong, but these days I'm trying to really just I'm in a good spot injury wise, so I'm not training as heavy. I'm training more like a bodybuilder I would.
Are you doing a lot of machines and stuff, or are you still hitting some free weights here and there? Are you doing some
No,
squats
I
and
still
deads and stuff, or just mainly
um
machines?
I'm doing a lot more machines than I was. I'll still do like I'll still do flat bench a little bit, but I do belt squats as opposed to squats.
All
And
right.
people can make fun of me and all they want, but the truth is, my legs are fucking gigantic without having to train them. I don't have to do shit,
Right.
so I'm lucky in that aspect. Uh, so I'm just training like an older dude, I guess. But
Yeah, you said
what?
deadlift wise too that you just haven't had a lot of coaching on it, so you don't want to fuck with it. You don't want to jack yourself up.
Yeah, yeah. I want to learn to deadlift, honestly, dude. Like I could pull a lot of weight, but I've never had any coaching, and I feel like if I had some coaching, I could pull a lot more weight. Um, but yeah, I want to come out and actually learn from you guys.
Yeah, you got to come out to super training, man. We're waiting for you over
Yeah,
here.
yeah. So
Um,
dude, I try to always learn, man. I'm trying to, I've been lifting my whole life, so. Uh, but still, I learn something new every time I train with like you or Michael Hearn or one of the guys who are just really in it. I like that because I like to feel like I don't know shit.
right. Yeah, you have also built up your podcast. Your podcast is something that is on fire right now. You're doing a great job with it. I love listening to it. I love the diversity of it. I love that sometimes the show's a little longer, sometimes the show a little shorter. And for me, sometimes I can just I just put it on and just listen to it while I'm on a plane or wherever it might be. What are you more proud of? You more proud? This is a tough question for you. You're more proud of the podcast, or you're more proud of your business?
The business, it's easy. The business. The reason I'm proud of the business is it has nothing to do with me. It has to do with our guys. Uh, like I'm surrounded by good people who work hard, who care about the customers, who put their heart and soul behind everything that we do, and they work as a unit. Um, they treat people right. They do the right thing. And dude, that inspires me. So like I'm way more proud of that than literally anything I could ever do on my own. I mean, is it cool? Is it cool to do the podcast? Yes. We've done a lot of cool things. Like, dude, I've been a top 50 podcast in iTunes for almost 3 years, which is a huge deal because there's like over 1 million podcasts.
Yeah.
We get 2.5 million downloads a month. That's a lot. I've been top 10 in business for the last at least year and a half. I got ranked #1 entrepreneur podcast by Entrepreneur Magazine, Inc., Forbes, and Yahoo. So I mean, like, dude, that's just cool, right? Like that, you think I'd be, oh, fuck yeah, that's awesome. But the truth is I don't know. Like, I honestly don't know why the fuck people even listen to me, to be completely honest.
Well,
But
I'll tell you why they listen to your podcast, because your podcast is fairly focused. Sometimes you just go off on a tangent or rant or whatever, but those are cool because they get you hyped up, they get you motivated. But
yeah,
I really think that people can, by listening to your podcast, I really think that people can improve their income. I think they can improve their own
oh,
personal
dude,
development. A lot of
there's no
times,
question.
like on this podcast and many other podcasts, I'm trying to get information out about fitness or about nutrition. It depends on who the guest is. But your podcast in particular has the same common theme. Now, you might go outside a little bit and you might mention something about your diet that you're on, or you might mention some things, but it's really honed in on business. But what I love about it is it's not honed in on the specifics of business only, because that gets to be dry as fuck and that gets to be
Right,
really boring. It's more the
right.
general stuff, how to treat people, how to build
Well,
relationships, all that kind of stuff.
I mean, dude, just like in fitness, and this is why fitness is so cool, because it literally parallels business like exactly.
Right.
And if you don't have your mind right, if in business, a lot of people think it's X's and O's, right? It's like, oh, I'm going to create this logo, and then I'm going to create a website, then I'm going to run Facebook ads, then I'm going to create a funnel. Yeah, dude, you can find that information anywhere. But the real important shit is like the shit that you've got to figure out that goes on between your ears, and that's where I think we hit that no one else really hits the right way. It's about training the whole machine, dude. It's not just about training, the X's and O's of business. I mean, do we hit the X's and O's of business? Yes. We'll tell you how to do all that stuff. But, being able to cultivate the grit, the discipline, the mentality, and dealing with the stress and the anxiety and the hard shit, and how to, do all the things that it's going to take to be successful. I think that's where we differentiate ourselves. It's a complete product. It's not like we say it's not dry. And dude, we even talk about stuff like relationships and friendships and how to deal with, the growth and the editing of those things. And I mean, dude, it's cool because the co-host of the podcast, he's an ex-pastor.
You're right.
So we have a really cool dynamic where, like, I'm like the CEO and he's a pastor, and it all kind of, just goes together. It's funny. We didn't even intend to have a podcast. That wasn't how it started. He was interviewing me to help me write a book, and we were videotaping it, and we were recording the audio so that he could listen to it. And I would take the clips because some of them were kind of cool, and I would put them on Instagram. This is back in like 2014. And every time I put one up there, people would be like, "What podcast is this?" And I'm like, every time somebody would write this shit, I write back, "It's not a podcast. It's an interview for a book." Because I thought like doing a book was really cool, and I thought podcasts were stupid. And so after like literally 1,000 times of me writing this, it finally clicked in my dumb brain. Hey, why don't we do a podcast? And that's how it started. Like, it didn't even start from, it didn't even start from like, hey, let's start a podcast. It started because people were harassing me to start one. And I was too stupid to understand what they were saying.
What do you think the biggest hurdle facing people is today with coming up with a business, with starting a business? I hear you oftentimes, giving advice to people that are kind of just getting going. So what do you see the biggest hurdle?
Dude, the biggest hurdle is within their own ears and within their own household. It's funny because, dude, I get paid a lot of money these days to go speak at events. And, I run many different companies. They're all successful. And I do Q&As. And when I do these Q&As, I don't hold anything back. I mean, these people paid for my information. So if they ask me, like, what I can do to do this or that and make money, I will tell them the real answer. I'm not holding it back. So they have access to all this information. And you know what I get asked more than anything? How do you deal with people that don't believe in me? How do you deal with people that say I'm not going to be able to do it? And this comes from people who are earning six figures, who are running a business and already making money, and they're still struggling with it. And it's the mental obstacle of needing approval from people that they've cared about their whole lives. And they're afraid to go out and do things because they're afraid of what these people might say. It's not that the people have said it. It's what they might say.
Yeah.
So you understand what I'm saying? So, like, people imagine this situation in their head and they say, all right, well, I want to start this business. I want to go out and do this, and I'm going to become a millionaire, and I'm going to do this and make this impact and this. But if I post on the internet, my Aunt Connie, she might say that I'm a dumbass, or they might make fun of me at Easter, or they might say something to me and dude, that's what stops people. It's what might happen is what stops people. And for that reason, I have a saying that I always say is that you are your own worst hater, because it's not that other people are hating. You're imagining that people are hating on you, and that's keeping you from action.
Yeah, they say like that perception is reality, and I think you somehow talk yourself into
exactly.
And it's not even like it's not what other people think of you. You are what you think other people think you are. That's what you end up being the byproduct of, which sounds like crazy talk because it sounds like you're just having conversations with yourself all day long.
But dude, that's exactly what's happening there. People are having conversations on the inside that are not reflective of what's truly going on in the outside, and they're deciding whether they should or shouldn't do something based on those conversations that don't really exist in real life. That's exactly what's happening. Like, exactly. And you ask what holds people back, that's what holds people back. Their fear of what might happen.
My man, I can talk to you all day long, but I don't want to take up your whole entire day. So appreciate having you on here today. And you know what? I can't wait to get out to Summer Smash. I'm so excited to do that. So excited to collaborate with you on some stuff that we have going on. I'm really pumped about just everything that's going on, man.
Dude, I am too, man. I can't wait to have you out for Summer Smash too. Everybody's going to really love to hear you speak, man. I love to just, try not to tell any jokes.
I'm gonna work on my comedy routine up there.
You better work really fucking hard on that, bro.
And I think I might work on some of my dance moves and stuff too, because I got a pretty nice first Phorm red, white, and blue thong that I'm gonna be wearing on the stage.
Oh, dude, that's sexy. Just make sure you wear it after when we hang out.
That'll have to be what we're doing. We're gonna have to get some training in again too, because that was fun last time.
Yeah, for sure, dude. I'll try not to bitch out this time.
You did great, man. You made it through, man. That's all that matters. I
made it through, but I've been working now though. Like, ever since, that was a wake up call to me. Like, because I did want to quit. Like, I legitimately wanted to quit, and I would have quit if you not pulled me up off the ground and said, "Hey, dude, no." I would have quit. Like, I was quitting, and you knew I was quitting. And I still feel fucking embarrassed about that. I've been working on.
I was yelling at you.
Yeah, bro, but you know how competitive I am. So that was in August of last year. I'm still fucking thinking about it every day. You know what I mean? So like I've been working on all different kinds of mental things. So hopefully when it comes time to do some shit, I won't fucking be a punk this time.
You got a mental coach getting you ready for the Mark Smelly Bell workout, huh?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, when we were doing that, I remember, kind of seeing you falling off a little bit. We were pushing the tank and we were doing just some hideous stuff,
Yeah.
flipping the tire and then doing the rows. And your brother, he's an asshole. He's pretty good at that stuff, so he was kind of cranking through it. My
Yeah.
wife is a former Division I swimmer, so she was cranking through it pretty good. And then some of the other
Yeah.
guys are kind of skinny and small, so they didn't really have that tough of a time. But when you started Come On Glued, I started yelling at you. And I'm like, when you were deadlifting, I remember I was like, that deadlift doesn't care what car you drive, it doesn't care how much money
Yeah.
you have, and that's the truth of it. That's what I love about fitness,
Yeah.
and that's what I love about trying to obtain the body that you feel comfortable in. There is nothing you can't buy it,
No,
you
you
can't
gotta earn
purchase
it.
it.
Gotta earn it.
Yeah, you got to
And
be out there fighting for it.
yeah, dude, the truth is, dude, I was 287 pounds. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
true.
I mean, dude,
Yeah.
everybody else was under 250. I mean, that's a
Right.
big difference. And I'm not making excuses, but it's going to be different this time.
That's a lot of weight to be tugging around.
Yeah. So like I was definitely struggling, and I was proud that I got through it, but I didn't get through it on my own. You know what I mean? And that kind of fucks in my head a little bit.
What car are you cruising in today?
It's raining here, man. So I'm driving dually. I've got a big Chevy. You've seen it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen it or not. Yeah, I got a big lifted Chevy dually. So that's the ride for today. That's my rain car.
Yeah, you kind of get into different modes on different cars because you've been using that one quite a bit. Has it been kind of shitty weather lately?
Yeah, but like, dude, I'm actually a truck guy, like at heart. So like, I love having that truck. So I mean, I drive it. I probably drive that truck 50% of the time, and then the other times I go through little phases with the cars. So
you sent me a picture of or a link to those new Broncos. Those things look pretty sick.
Yeah, dude. That's those. Dude, if I lived out where you live, man, that's all I would drive.
Yeah, you have to have the top on where you're at.
Yeah.
All right, man. Have a great day. Catch you later, dude.
All right, brother.
See ya.
All right, see ya.
Hello?
He seems a little competitive, huh?
Yeah, he's fired up.
That's awesome.
You got to be fired up. No, I thought that was great. He's a great speaker. He's somebody that can kind of just take whatever you say and turn it into something big. But I really liked what he said about how he thinks that people are held back not just by what people say and think, but it's also about what your perception of what people are going to say. It's like you're worried about like what if.
Yeah. Worrying about the unknown. I mean, you said it. I think when we were checking out the old warehouse. We were walking through a building. I think it was the old warehouse, and we walked into a room that was pitch black, and we're like, "What the hell is in there?" Like, what? I don't know. Andrew, you go find out. Like, you go find out. I don't want to.
Yeah.
It's fucking black. Like, I don't know. We turn on the light, and there's literally nothing in that room. But 5 seconds prior, like, I remember feeling like, oh shit, I don't want to walk in there. Not because I'm afraid of a ghost or something, but what if I walk and like I fall into a hole or something? But that's kind of what you guys were just talking about. You're worried about the what if, like, what are they gonna say? What are they gonna think? That sort of thing.
Yeah, and I think from a business perspective, if there's not if there's not a lot of financial there's not a lot of finances on the line to lose, then what do you have to lose? Because doing the same thing over and over again kind of sucks, and being stuck in the same spot kind of sucks. So whatever that risk is, whatever that leap is, and don't be crazy about it. Don't be asinine about it. Make sure it's at least somewhat calculated of a move. I kind of think about when I was a kid and I played Mario Brothers. You would try to time that flag jump, and you'd get a certain amount of points by like jumping to the top of the flag, but it was also risky because the closer you got to it and the later you jumped, sometimes you fell all the way to the bottom.
Yeah, if your reaction time was just a bit off.
Yeah, you couldn't get the point. So there's a risk to everything that you do, and then also jumping from too far away is not a good idea either. So make sure, before you're going to make that leap, make sure you're like Mario and make sure you're in a good position, and you can get you can get to the top of that flagpole.
What do you think about what he was talking about millennials? He was saying that it's not that they're lazy, it's just that they're so impatient, but because of the world that's been built around them. I thought that was kind of cool. I never really even thought of it that way.
Yeah, I was kind of trying to lead him into that question because I've always felt that I don't share the exact same opinion as he does on that whole thing, but I agree with most of what he said, and I also think that it's a lot of the company's fault because a lot of these companies are new and they don't give anybody any slack and they don't give anybody any breathing room. And so if I'm new at like trying to lead people, then how the fuck am I going to be, on you 24/7 about something that I just figured out 10 seconds ago?
Mm-hmm.
And then also, how can I can't come down on somebody unless I really went over, like if I went over something several times with somebody and said, hey, like this, this is the way we do things. This is the way, time one, time two, time three. I mean, it might get messed up. There might be, right, here and there. Hopefully over time, like you just have to understand that it's going to take time. And I think a lot of people that own businesses don't understand that. They don't give anybody any time. They might just immediately fucking can somebody because they're late. Like, oh, you're late.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I don't know. Like what, maybe that person has other values that you like and that you want to keep. And maybe they have other things that they can do. There's people, everyone's got strengths and everyone's got weaknesses. So you're going to have to figure out ways of doing the best with them. The other thing I look at too is when you look at like teams, you look at like a football team, or you look at a football team's a great example. I mean, they're out there in the heat, fucking killing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're out there again in the cold, killing themselves, during the football season. But meanwhile, the teacher will be like, I can't get through to any of these guys. These football players, their grades suck. Like none of them are going to be eligible. And it's definitely the responsibility of the student athlete to fucking get better grades and to pay attention. But at the same time, is that teacher standing on top of their desk yelling at these kids? Is that teacher investing a lot of time in the relationship and the way that they treat each other? Is that teacher joking with the student? Is that teacher just the way a football player would? A football coach, I'm sorry. A football coach is going to be like over the top, fucking crazy, animated, yelling, screaming, and you're going to be like, all right, well, coach, he flies off the handle, but at least he fucking cares.
Yeah.
Then there's your history teacher, your science teacher, or whatever teacher it is, where they're just up there, pointing at the fucking chalkboard or whatever, and you're just like, I just don't even want to pay attention to any of this because they're not into it. So why the fuck would I be into it?
Right. Or like a coach that will yell and scream at one player, and then they respond right away, and they do it to another player, and they're just like, dude, fuck you. Like,
you gotta
they'll
learn.
figure out which ways they learn better, whereas the history teacher just has his or her curriculum, and they're just like, here, learn this, study that, and take the test on Friday.
It's an unfortunate thing. A lot of teachers don't have the ability, and sometimes just don't have the time to really mentor you. I mean, they are going through a lot of people, but a football coach doesn't always have that much time with you either.
Right.
So they have a way. Just really think about that. They got a way of getting through somehow, and maybe it's because maybe it's because football was a choice, and maybe school you're fucking just stuck. But think about back to when you were a student, and I think back to when I was a student, I had some teachers that were great.
Yeah.
They figured out a way. They figured out a way for me to remember shit.
Yeah.
They figured out a way to connect, and I think that's really what's missing from a lot of things. He was talking about the things that hold people back, and I think part of the reason why these things hold people back is because people don't have leaders, they don't have mentors that are pointing them in the right direction. They don't know where to go.
Yeah.
And so they pop around on YouTube and they pop around on Instagram and they pop around on some different things, and maybe they're following people that just don't have that much to say.
Yeah. I thought it was
There's a
also
lot of junk out. There's a lot of just bullshit out there.
yeah, yeah. Because I mean, one of the shortcuts that I took was just like getting a decent mentor when it came to photography. Like I easily cut off a handful of years off of my training just by following somebody who knew what the hell they were talking about.
Yeah.
But also I thought when Andy was talking about like there's bodybuilders that can be so disciplined about everything they do in the gym, everything they eat, but their bank account is like they're in the negative or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool too because you do have to have that balance.
That's part of how our conversation started today, and that's part of
Yeah.
why I wanted to have him on the podcast. I didn't put him under fire that bad for it, but he talked his way around it pretty good by basically just saying like he doesn't have the capacity to be fucking full blast at everything all the time.
Right.
Because it's like, if you're a stud in these areas, why'd you ever allow yourself to get to 350 pounds, right?
Yeah, his arms look pretty big right there though.
Yeah, no, he's fucking jacked.
Yeah.
He's jacked. But he answered the question. He said that he has a tendency, to get derailed by certain foods. He has a tendency to get derailed by drinking, and things like that. And yeah, I mean, there's no one's perfect, and the more the more like intact somebody looks and appears, probably the more fucked up
Yeah.
they really are. The cool thing is that he's a genuine guy. He's the way that you see him on his podcast when I went out and met him and talked to him and stuff is the way he just kind of always is that way.
That's cool.
He's always fired up. He's always animated.
Yeah. When are you heading out there?
I think it's like mid-June.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's the middle of June, going out there to the first Phorm Summer Smash thing. It's kind of like, I think it started as kind of an employees type thing, and then they just turned it into this like giant party, and there'll be like, I don't know, 1,000 people there or something crazy. So
you'll have plenty of time to run hills and all that good stuff.
yeah, it'll be terrible. I went for a run today.
I was gonna ask how'd it go.
It went pretty good. I didn't have I didn't plan it out to have enough time to get over to like where the hill part was. So because I just didn't know what any of it was going to look like. But now I know what it looks like, and it's actually pretty cool because you got to run fairly far just to get to the mountainy part of it.
To get to the hard part.
Yeah, to get to the hard part. So that would actually be a really good run for me. I can't, I don't run very well. I kind of suck at it, and so. Today I probably ran for about 25 minutes just straight. Not fast. A couple times I picked up the pace a little bit here and there, especially when I saw a snake.
Oh God.
Fucking saw a snake just laying across the whole path, just baking in the sun. And it was huge. I was like, what the fuck? And I don't know anything about snakes, so I'm like, I don't know what that is, but that just looks like bad news. I'm going the other way.
Did you treat the run like you would a normal workout? Like, did you eat before? Did you kind of prep for it, or you just said, "All right, I'm taking off"?
Yeah, I thought about it yesterday. Actually,
there you go.
That's the way I like to do stuff. So I, thought about my food consumption towards the end of the day yesterday to make sure I had enough. Because I don't want anything like negative to deter me from these runs. So I want to just. I'm not going to run too far. I'm not going to run too hard. I'm not going to eat right before. I'm not going to allow myself to be dehydrated. Like I just won't run if the chips are stacked against me because I don't want to run and be like, see, I told you, like you're to myself. I don't want to say that to myself. Like, kind of, I told you so to myself about the way I feel about running, and so
like about pushing it too far.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Because I don't want to have my ankle twisted or shin splints or some sort of injury. Like when I ran today, my shins kind of got pumped up a little bit, so I stopped and I walked. I'm like, I'll just keep a good walking pace.
Yeah.
It went away. I ran again. I'm just trying to keep it really, really simple because my running background is none. I thought it was pretty funny when I told Cameron Haynes, I was like, I have never, ever in my life gone for a run. He's like, what?
Yeah.
It's like, I've never once ever just like went out and ran for a mile or two, except for maybe when I was like a teenager, when I was boxing, my coach wanted me to run a little bit. So I did a little bit then, but that was about it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, he's like, I can't live without running. And then you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, I actually never ran.
I can understand it to a certain extent. I don't. Who knows? Maybe I'll just run for like 2 weeks and then not do it. I don't know.
Hmm.
But I can understand it because, like, when I was on my way to go do it, I was like, yeah, I was kind of looking forward to it. It's be pretty cool.
That's cool. I think it's great to set the bar where you have set it right now. Like you're not trying to push too far. You don't want to make that excuse. And I mean, I'm pretty good at making up excuses, but yesterday when we were doing the assault bike or whatever it's called, we went through one round, and your brother was like, "Oh, I can't do it no more. Like I got serious heart problems." Or like
Yeah.
he was on the floor, and it was really hard. But I just remember like that got into my head.
Yeah.
And like, oh fuck, maybe I shouldn't be doing this, because then all of a sudden my quads were on fire and they
Hmm.
couldn't recover. But I was like, nah, I'll be fine. Like I'll figure it out.
Well, the key is just to make it through.
Yeah,
And what did yesterday look like, and what did the week before look like? Maybe the week before you didn't go on the assault bike, and so if you didn't go on the bike previous weeks, then all you have to do is beat your best, and if you don't have a best, then anything will be better than
right, right.
nothing, right?
Yeah,
So
it's 100% better than nothing.
like, we'll say, hey, we're going to sprint. Well, maybe your sprint's 70%. Who cares? Like, it doesn't, you don't have to, take yourself to the absolute limit every single time you do something. Over a period of time, it'd be great to train yourself to that.
Hmm.
When we get those heavy bags and stuff and we say, all right, let's kick it in for 15 seconds, just go all out. Well, all out's going to mean something different to each person.
Yeah,
You don't, if you have never gone all out before, then you shouldn't want to go all out. You should only go whatever percentage you can offer. It's just like pacing yourself.
hmm,
If we were to do 135-pound deadlift in between doing 4 other exercises, and you said just go like hell for 30 seconds, well, it would depend on how many rounds we're going to go through on that.
right.
If we went through one round, then I might do 40 reps in 30 seconds. If we went through 5 rounds, I might do 15 reps per every 30, So
Yeah,
it's like, it really makes a difference. Like, what's next? Because, remember, we end up with that question, and then what? We end up with that question, and then what? Like, where are you going to take this to from here?
yeah,
Today's a bench press day. If I go in there and, uh, try to bench 500 pounds, well, where can I do next week? You can't do stuff that's not there yet. You can't. It doesn't make any sense to max out every time. You do what you can do. You do the best with it each time, and you try to do better. Plain and simple. You just try to do better, and that's can be a big motivating factor for a lot of people. Is just trying to do better all the
mhm.
time.
Are you consulting with anybody or taking any advice from any coaches or anybody you know in regards to running? Just because we do have a question about sprinting, but we're not necessarily
Hmm.
experts on telling this guy when he should be sprinting. So I was just
Yeah,
curious if there's
yeah.
anybody.
I know quite a bit about running just because it parallels lifting quite a
Gotcha.
bit. The rest protocols and a lot of the things, a lot of stuff comes from running, really, not just Olympic lifting.
Hmm.
Um, but no, I am not really. I'm nowhere with it. So
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, I'll just I'm just starting.
yeah, yeah. Cool.
Just
What's
trying
your
to move. What's this guy want to do?
so he said he's gonna start sprinting 100 meters, and he wants to know how often he should be doing it. So it's a very basic and open
Yeah,
question,
right.
but I was just wondering if you were following anybody right
Hmm.
now in regards to like trying to plan out your runs right now.
Yeah, I mean, you have to just kind of understand that sprinting is really it's a high level skill
Hmm.
that requires a lot of your central nervous system. An all out sprint, there's 6 and 7 times, and sometimes even more times your body weight multiplied on itself for every fucking step that you take. And so you have to just understand that. You have to understand that if you go out and sprint 100% today, it's going to take you a while to recover from it. Your power output's not going to be as good, and it's hard to train and to make progress if you um, if your power output is worse each training session or even just impeded at all. So I would say like if if you're trying to run, if you're trying to get some good times, you can only do that like once a week. But typically from what I've seen is most runners don't even bother to ever really run 100%. They do a lot of stuff at around 80%. They do a lot of stuff around 70%, and they work a lot on their form and technique. And when you consider that, then you can start to run more often. And you can start to run, 2, 3 times a week, specifically with like a 100-meter protocol. 100 meters tough. It does. It's a lot further than you fucking think. It's literally like a 10 or however long it takes you to finish it, 10 to 12 second, 15 second, however long it takes this person to finish their sprint. So they'll have to be cautious of that. And then how many times they run per every time they go is pretty brutal. But if it's just mainly for aesthetics, just trying to like look better, you can go run 5 sprints twice a week and rest as much as you want in between. And the sprint should be on a level of, 1 to 10, should be like at like an 8, and you'll have really good fat burning results from that.
Cool. What's your workout looking like today?
I don't really know. I'm not really sure. I'm gonna go in there and do some benching and probably some slingshot. I've been rocking a slingshot a lot. I feel pretty good raw, but I want to keep it that way. So I've been messing around with some slanging. So probably, what's the first thing you're doing today? Smoke?
2 sets of 5 on bench.
2 sets of 5. Maybe I'll do 2 sets of 5.
There you go.
It'd be good if I can do a couple sets of 5 with anything over like 400 pounds. I don't know. I haven't really benched that much in the last few weeks either, so I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, if there's anybody listening who's interested in a slingshot, we're actually running a promo code. Will get you 15% off all slingshots.
What?
Yeah, at checkout, enter promo code
Don't
Power Project.
Don't do that.
Yeah, it's it'll get you 15% off of any slingshot that we sell at Mark Bell's slingshot.com.
You saying 50% off?
15.
Oh,
15.
yeah. Don't do that either.
Okay.
He's lied. It's 3% off. That's
There
what
you
you're
go.
getting.
3 times 5.
Wait, what?
Give or take. Yeah.
15% off. Who made this rule? Is this some Smoky?
Yeah, the guy next to me.
Damn. All right, guys, that's all the time we got for today. I hope you enjoyed the show with Andy Frisella. Make sure you give us some comments. Make sure you like us and follow us and subscribe to us. We're on iTunes. It's Mark Bell's Power Project. We are on YouTube, powerproject.live. We are all over the damn place. We are everywhere. I'm Mark Bell. This is Super Training Gym. That's Andrew Zaragoza. Strength is never weakness. Weakness is never strength. Let's see. What else can I plug here at the end? Go buy my book, The War on Carbs. Go check out the website, markbellslingshot.com. I'd rather be dead than average. I don't know. Bye.